Happy Wednesday! How are we doing, everybody? I say it every week, and I'm going to say it again. These weeks fly by. It's already Wednesday again. And I don't know, for me, Wednesday is normally a bit of a mundane day of the week because it's like, well, I guess I've got some of the week underway, but I've still got a couple more days. But then it's the weekend, and hump day, as everyone calls it. I'm really excited for today's show. Wednesdays are actually just becoming incredibly virtual reality heavy for me. Obviously, the topic of today is why I love virtual reality and why you should too. And I want to be clear, for those of you that are watching, I know there's going to be a few from the virtual reality community. You are of course welcome, and you're going to have lots of great contributions to this conversation. But there may be things I talk about that seem a bit obvious to you, because the majority of people on my channel aren't necessarily gamers, aren't necessarily virtual reality experiencers, if I can call them that. And so today I wanted to be more of an opportunity to talk to everyone, but even more so to those that haven't experienced virtual reality before, perhaps don't know what the fuss is about, and not just talk about, well, here are the games that you can play and this is what it is, but to really go into detail of like what it actually means for society as a whole. And that's going to sound like a very Myles thing to say. I started on YouTube back in 2006 because I saw online video as being this empathy machine. It was a way that beyond the fabrics of individual videos being uploaded was this community where people would share experiences and build empathy by seeing other perspectives that weren't in their own lives. Virtual reality has taken that to a whole other level. And I guess before I get into sort of more of the gaming side, one of my last projects I worked on at the Guardian news organisation, which was about 5-6 years ago now, maybe a bit longer. You've always got to add 2 years with the pandemic, right? Was a project called 6x9. It's still available online, 6 times 9. And it was like a 10-minute experience where you're sat in a solitary confinement cell. And the narration is done by people who have been imprisoned in solitary confinement. And I remember one of the first things they say is something along the lines of, wow, we're going to be in here for a long time, so I guess I better just start counting the bricks. And you start counting the bricks. And the majority of journalists that took their headsets off at the end of this experience, and it was all done via, I think it was Samsung's, but it was like in the Google, it was actually done in a headset, like, but where you put your phone in, but you could obviously do it with Google Cardboard. And a lot of people came off in tears because they were like, it really felt that I was there. So, as is always the case with the show, I always do a bit of housekeeping. The reason it's going to be very virtual reality heavy today is because this episode is about virtual reality. In about 15 minutes time, I'm going to be joined by a marketing director of a company called Gluge Interactive, who created a game called Synth Riders that I've been playing on Twitch a lot the past week. And he's going to join me. I just put a tweet out earlier saying, I'm talking about virtual reality. Are there any developers that want to come on and chat? There were a lot that did want to come on and chat, but it was very last minute notice, so it wasn't possible. But he was up for it. And so he's going to be joining in about 15 minutes time. Going to find out a bit about, the work that he does at it. And his name, sorry, by the way, is Power Guider. I didn't say that up front, which is always an important thing to get right. And really, really nice guy. And we did a quick test before the live show to make sure that our cameras and sound was working. It was all brilliant. And just find out a bit of, what got him into the company that he works at. But then also, talk about Synth Riders, which came out on the PlayStation VR a week ago. But then also to find out, like, what is it about the platform? Because when I talk about gaming, I always talk about the fact that we have to appreciate that whenever we create worlds, I say we, I can't take credit. Whenever developers create worlds in games, they've basically had to digitize our own reality. So if you have gravity, if you have a racing game, you've got cars that have to stay to the road. So they've had to work out the physics What about lighting? The big buzzword at the moment for new consoles is ray tracing. So once upon a time, I say once upon a time, as little as a year ago, on old generation consoles, when you were in a world in a game, if the wall was lit up by the sun, that's not because light was shining from the sun. It's because the sun was light in the sky and baked into the wall texture. They turn the brightness up to make it look like that light is shining onto it. Ray tracing technology now basically simulates light is at the sun and it's coming in and it bounces off the walls. And if you look at it online, it's amazing the improvement it makes. And but then it requires a lot of game processing power, because it means that, you know, as the sun moves or there's mirrors and reflections, it's got to, you know, take all that into consideration. So those are a few sort of examples right there. So yeah, we're going to be having a great conversation with him in about 15 minutes. First, I'm going to show you a few clips of me in virtual reality. But then something I've been doing the last couple of weeks, and it's gone a lot better than I expected, was I've always wanted to do gaming streams, but YouTube, my channel, isn't really a gaming channel. I do like to talk about gaming in the broader context of things, like being an empathy machine. But whenever I get to the end of this live show, I now go onto Twitch. We all go over, and it's been really, really good fun. I'm going to be playing Synth Riders after this show. It just has to happen. But I tested out the other day. In the past, when I've live streamed on this show, gaming on Twitch, I'm using the PlayStation interface, which means that all you see on screen is what I see, which is kind of cool. But what I've now worked out is I've taken another one of these cameras and I had to take one of these lights downstairs. I've set my laptop downstairs up and I'm using the PlayStation through my broadcast software on my laptop. And what it means now is you can see what I see in virtual reality, but you can also see me flailing my arms about, and it's quite funny. But also, you know, if I'm in virtual reality, I can't read the chat on my laptop. So I've got an app on my laptop that when you type, it reads it out your chat in a robotic voice. And so under my headphones for the game, I have in-ear Bluetooth headphones, which is linked to my laptop. So while I can hear the music in the game and be in the environment, I can also hear a lovely robotic voice read your comments. The things I do, right? All DIY, but it's been really interesting. So in 50 minutes time, I'm going to be going over there. You're welcome to join me. That should be some good fun. And then after an hour of that, I then head on over to PSVR Without Parole, which is a PlayStation virtual reality community and YouTube channel. Was very welcoming. It's amazing if you're into virtual reality on the PlayStation. Brian, who runs it, is great, and I've been helping them out a lot lately with their Instagram account. And there are plans for us to work together on some stuff in the not too distant future. And because of their channel, it has meant that I've, you know, got chatting with like-minded people. And because virtual reality is still very niche, you know, it's expensive, it requires some space because you're moving around, and, you know, that's a bit of a gamble. You know, although we all know what virtual reality is, it's just not mainstream enough yet. And so with that said, I have to say the virtual reality community reminds me of what the YouTube community was like in 2006. It's very small, very energetic, and it just feels like a family, and that's really great. And their show goes on for about an hour and a half. So it's going to be 3 hours of virtual reality for me, but you're welcome to follow me through with all of it. So I said I had some other big good news happening in my life. I would love to go into more details, but all I will say is on Monday of this week, I went into London for the first time in 2 years, well, prior to the pandemic, since November 2019, to go for a casting audition where I had to do some acting. I've never done it before. It's for a really exciting project, which obviously I can't talk about, but I will hopefully get some details any day now. And all I will say is if I get the role, next week's show might have to be done in a hotel room in a different country. How about that? But it's also tied to some other big news, but I'm just getting the paperwork all signed off and that. And so hopefully in time for next week's show, I can talk about that as well. But I feel like the ball is really rolling in my life at the moment, which has been amazing because, as you know, about a month ago, I was on a financial cliff edge, and I think that a lot of that subconsciously was having a big impact on my mental health, which I'm fortunately a lot better with now, which I think is all tied in. So yeah, I just want to say a huge thank you for the ongoing support and just for joining me today, because I say it every week. This is one of my favorite times of the week because I love these conversations, and I'm just reading what some of you are saying now. Let's bring some of these up. And actually, you know, a question to everyone who's watching. Click the like button if you haven't already. Have you played VR before? And if so, what did you think of it? And if not, does it appeal to you? Because if the answer's no, that's totally fine. And I'm hoping that I can change your mind today. So I've had one experience with VR when the PSVR, that's PlayStation virtual reality, first came out. It was pretty mind-bending. I used to dream of virtual reality as a kid, still do as a 30-year-old, in fairness. It is very magical when you first put that headset on, because people that don't do virtual reality often overlook, and I did as well, that what you're doing is you're rendering two actual images. Like when you watch on a flat screen, it's just one screen, one image. In virtual reality, it's two images, one for each eye, and that gives you depth perception, and it really adds to the immersion. And immersion is a really important word when it comes to virtual reality. Without Parole, that was the YouTube channel I shouted out a moment ago, is wonderful. Has brought me so much happiness and friends over the past few years. Really helped me come out of my shell socially. That's amazing to hear. Really, really, really good. And was playing VR just before the show. And also was saying that Synth Riders, it's amazing. So, the first thing I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to show you a video I made quite a while ago when I was first diving into VR. And it's just like a list of highlights of a load of VR games I was playing. I could talk through it, but I think you should just see it. But there's a couple of games in there which are horror games, and there's going to be a lot of swearing, let's say, because I'm a complete scaredy cat, and in virtual reality, oh my goodness, just check this out. Is it not playing? Oh no. It's not playing. All right, let's sort this out. Why is it not playing? Here we go. Right, check this out. This should work now. Oh, I know why it is. It's because I've been doing this whole show in preview mode, so you haven't seen any of the changes. This is the highlights video. Can you hear me? Wave if you can hear me. Hello? This is... Can we just get moving? Shit. I feel like the noob on Galaxy Quest.
Is there air? Oh, hello, mate. What happened?
Oh, this is making me super hungry.
Mate, me too. Pairing this pizza will cost microtransactions.
Yeah, yeah, it does, yeah. Oh my god, I'm in heaven. Whoop, whoop. What do you want? I don't know if I like this already. Oh, fuck this. No, I can't do this, man. No, I can't. I can't. I honestly can't do this shit. Oh, I see.
Section 6 minutes.
Yeah. And then back to local.
This is
great.
Local.
And then you actually fly Star Trek Enterprise with friends. Yeah, that's it.
Engage.
Very nice. Let's see what your first ever record is.
That places them in the Klingon neutral zone.
I've never been so under pressure playing a game before. This is so good.
Exactly.
This is making me hungry in real life. You're a fucking asshole.
Right, this is the Persistence. This is
That
the
doesn't
scariest game I've ever played in VR. I completed it the other day, but on flat screen.
Shit. Oh shit! Fuck! 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 Jesus fucking Christ! Holy shit! Holy fucking shit! It's my turn now.
Let's go, Myles. Let's go, Myles.
Okay, what have I got? Do I just take a card and then?
Take a
Oh,
card
okay.
and
Here we go. And then you got
Water, waves,
Waterway. Wait.
cloud, cloud,
no.
Sky. The sky.
seahorse,
Fish. Fish.
octopus, cloud.
A whale. Whale.
H2O. Fish.
I can barely see it. Dolphin, dolphin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's something freaky here on the right. Shit. Gets me every fucking time.
I was out of that bomb's range.
Nah.
$151. That's not bad for a
It's-
first go.
That's not
Let's
bad.
go
Yeah.
first time.
Good guiding.
Yeah, what's going on?
Am I allowed to use your hotspot?
No. No, because I'm using it for the game.
I absolutely love that end bit, and I actually have a longer clip of it. It's amazing because in the Star Trek game, when you talk, your character's mouth moves, and he's having a chat with his daughter. It's some guy I was playing on the game with, and it's like, "Can I use the hotspot?" No, we're currently using it for the Star Trek Enterprise, and he's like, you know, talking. There was another time where I was in the lobby with my friend Johnny, and he got a phone call, and it was just me and him there, so he picked up the phone while in VR so you could see his character like doing this, and then he was asked for like, I don't know if it was like credit card details or like a number, and he was like, "Oh yeah, just 1 second," and you see his character sort of like reach into his pocket and like read it out. It was just amazing. Oh, there he is, Johnny. This is who I was talking about. Good to see you here, buddy. Oh man, do you remember that? I have the video clip, but I don't have it on me at the moment. And I do apologise because my dad is watching with my mum and was very upset by the swearing. I did kind of give a bit of a disclaimer. I just forgot how much I swore. But when you think you're going to die, that's what happens. There you go. My mum watches streams too. Mums are awesome. My mum doesn't always watch, but she does. Today she knew it was going to be a big one. So, no, I appreciate that. Right, I'm just going up to some of the chat because you've mentioned some things, right? So I could totally get lost in the flight sims, even Euro Truck Sim. I could imagine being immense fun in VR. And this was a great point from I'm James. VR is great for games, but some of the other applications that have emerged are incredible. There are cases where it's been used as an alternative to sedation for children undergoing surgery. They become completely unaware they've left the ward and the procedure has taken place. It is amazing, the uses of it. And as I mentioned right at the start, one of the last projects I worked on at The Guardian was a solitary confinement cell, a 10-minute experience. So you really get a sense of what it must be like. Right. We're going to be having the Synth Riders marketing director come on in a moment, Paul Guider. Really excited for this conversation. And if you have any questions, and Johnny says, yeah, we need to get back on that soon, absolutely. If anyone has any questions, just put them in the chat and I can bring them up, because we're just going to have a frank conversation. I'm trying to think if I should show another clip, actually. Let me show you a quick clip before we go, because he might call in just a moment. This was me in The Walking Dead. I'm only going to show a bit of it. It's pretty gory. But the Walking Dead game is absolutely incredible, and it's very lonesome when you're playing it. But I just got a question for any of you that haven't played VR yet. Could you do this?
Yeah, I don't like this.
Swearing.
Shit. That made me jump.
Oh, up the stairs.
Yeah, I hear you, mate.
I will. Yeah, Saints and
You think
Sinners.
this game's freaky? There he is. Come at me.
I'm hungry and willing to kill.
Cool.
Give me the food. Now!
By the way, I don't support violence
Sure,
against
give up.
women. I just want to say that before this clip plays out.
You're trying my patience. I'm through with you now. Get lost.
Really?
You got a problem?
Yeah, I do.
Pervert? Ah!
I love it. It's hard to get ahead nowadays. Put it in the dog bowl.
Yeah. I know there's going to be some people completely shocked of why would Myles do that. Man, if I ever had a katana, I would be too scared to swing it around. An accident is waiting to happen. Saints and Sinners is phenomenal. I found the school area to be the scariest by far. Yes, you're looking through all the lockers and stuff like that. But as you saw in the first video that I showed, there's a lot of great things you can do. Like you can be at a bowling alley. Actually, I'll show you here. This was during quarantine.
Here are my hands, and this is me.
Rec
Hi,
Room was
everyone.
really good fun.
So how do you do it? Oh, okay. So you hold it first,
It's all a
and then
public
you
space.
grab the other hand, and then it's like keeping it straight. So then
And you can see me in the bottom left.
that
This is
was
similar
like
to how it's gonna
the
look after this
softest
show.
break ever. Here we go.
And so just to pause it, you know, when you're playing Nintendo Wii that everyone knows and you go bowling, it's like, wow, it feels like bowling. It's like, but in this, you're not just doing the action. You're in a bowling alley, and then after you've taken your go, you can walk
Okay,
over
that
to the
was
arcade
quite
section.
straight, except it went in the gutter.
And this is really important during quarantine because at a time when a lot of kids
I mean, I
are
hit
stuck
something.
in, they are not able to see their friends. It's a good way of hanging out and at least
Oi.
having some
Oh,
kind of
that's soft.
social
Sorry, I lobbed a
interactions
bowling ball at
anyway.
you. That was pretty harsh. See, guys, this is the future. VR, man. This is just one of the rooms.
I am second place. Watch, I know how to play this.
But they do get a bit.
Big brain. It might convert.
Let's have a look. What else we got here? We got yeah, rock climbing.
Why is the camera not working?
And you
God.
And then even they have like Ninja Warrior obstacle courses
Checkpoint.
where you race other people online.
Here we
Look
go,
how
especially this
ridiculous
bit.
I look. I mean, in the other camera.
Checkpoint.
I always look ridiculous.
Checkpoint.
Rec Room's amazing. Oh, regarding the Saints and Sinners.
Someone
agreed.
ahead of me already. How? Who's been tuned in on the live stream on Facebook? I can't see you right now, but I'm waving at you.
But anyway, so those are some examples of the more light-hearted, fun stuff in Rec Room, and in Rec Room in particular, people can create their own worlds and like their own maps. Right, I have got Power is going to be joining just very shortly. So what I thought we would do is I will just do a bit of an introduction of what Synth Rider is. I always relate back to the time of when I was little. I've got it still in my attic now, Guitar Hero, and how it really sparked the imagination. I think music games in particular is, you know, pop culture. It's something everyone likes to boogie, and if you can gamify it, I think you're onto a winning thing. So I'm going to show you the trailer of Synth Riders, and then when we return, Paul Guida, the marketing director of Gluge Interactive, who is behind the game, will be joining me for a conversation all about the game Synth Riders, but also virtual reality as a whole. So if you have any questions, do get him in the chat, and you'll be part of the conversation as well. So here is the trailer.
Fantastic.
Here we are. So, Pal Guider, thanks for joining, man.
Thank you for the invitation. Hey, everyone.
It was very at last minute notice, but I was just going to go straight into this conversation by myself and just talk to the audience. And I thought it'd be good to actually get someone from the industry to come in and talk about it. So we just saw the trailer to Synth Riders. It came out about was it a week or two ago now on PlayStation? It's gone so quick, hasn't it? I think it's been a week now.
Yeah, only a week, and
I
it
know.
seems like
I've played so much in a week. That's why it feels a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
And how would you describe the game? I mean, obviously, from what we can see, it's a rhythm game. But what is the pitch? What is Synth Riders?
Yeah, so I love to call it a freestyle dancing rhythm game. So yeah, basically in this game you touch the orbs, like try to catch the orbs. You ride the rails, which are these beams of light, these long nodes, as we also call them. And also you avoid walls. And the combination of it with the music makes you feel like you're like lets you experience the music in a really fantastic way and makes you move basically. So the music makes you, it's just like you become one with music, even I would say.
That's such a good way of explaining it. I mean, the footage we got right now is actually me doing some playthrough, and it does make you dance. I was actually dancing to some of these songs. Like, I do not dance. You will never see me dance in public because I can't dance. I have no confidence. But without a drop of alcohol, you will see me dancing to this game. It's so amazing. And just like the feedback in the hands of when you touch those orbs, just feeling every hit, the tracking is amazing and you really get a good feeling of it. And for those watching on the screen at the moment, in your right hand, you have a red orb. And in your left hand, you have I'm going to say blue. Is it blue, greeny? I don't know, blue. And so those correspond to the ones you're hitting. And then the lime green, that is you can hit with any hand. But whatever hand you choose, you then got to stick with it for the full thing. And then the yellow ones, you got to bring your hands together and do it. Now, I always find it very, very difficult, the yellow ones, when it comes for individual hits. So you'll do a rudiment and you've got to do a quick yellow one and then back again. I really struggle with that. I still haven't worked it out yet. So what is your background in terms of how did you become a part of the company, and had you worked in flat screen games before going to virtual reality? Like what has that journey been like for you?
Oh yeah, so my background is actually in film industry, and back in 2015 when we all heard about like the Kickstarter campaign of Oculus, the original Oculus Rift, like people got crazy, like a lot of people including me got crazy about VR, and it was just like I started talking about it all the time to everyone. And I met this director on a film set, and when he heard that I'm into VR and I would love to like be more involved with it, like actually be able to put my hands on a headset, which there was like no headsets back then, like these modern headsets. That was before Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, PlayStation VR, before all of it, before Gear VR, this mobile stuff, whatever. And he introduced me to a company that was making their first VR game. So there were a couple of guys here in Poland. I'm based in like Poland, Europe, who left their flat screen company when they were designers to start a new team, a new company, and focus and be able to like develop for VR exclusively. They ordered that dev kit, the Oculus dev kit, and I basically joined them first, doing some like story writing for a game design inside the engine, like a game engine, and then doing more of a biz dev side and marketing. And I've been there for, I believe, 3 years. Then I went to another company that was CGI, that wasn't gaming even. Actually, the company is doing trailers for games, but for flat games mostly. And then I got in contact with Aben, who's the creative director and original creator of Synth Riders, back when the game was in Steam Early Access. So this, like very early on in the development, but already people were able to play it. And I started talking to him, just like offering some feedback. Then I started to spend more and more time helping him and the team. And then a year ago, I joined full time. So I went I'm back in VR and doing full time. It's marketing, but like in VR, it's just like so different and more than this. It's not like you have a chance to work with creators and be so close with the community, with people who play the game. So yeah, this stuff like this. So
yeah, this is what I mentioned at the start of the show. Is I started as a YouTube vlogger back in 2006, and I really see a lot of similarities between YouTube then and how VR is now, where the community is so small but energetic. It kind of it does feel like a golden age where there's so much innovation and experimentation. And unfortunately, the reality is eventually all the big players are gonna, after all the independent developers have done the hard work of testing the platform and showing what's possible, all the big people are gonna jump in and have a bit of an easy ride. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. Although YouTube, it did happen over a much longer period of time than we feared. And I think that's the same for virtual reality. I think indie developers are going to have the edge. And also, you've got the goodwill of the community. Like, the community know who have been building up these games. And, you've been in the conversations with people about how do we improve these games? What do you want to see? And I know you spoke a bit about this with my friend and mutual friends, Brian Paul from PSVR Without Parole. But it's really interesting when you talk about marketing going from flat screen to VR, because a big part of this conversation today is for people that haven't experienced virtual reality before. What is it? What can they get out of it? That trailer that we showed is really, really good because it clearly shows how it works and you get a real feel for it. Although it will never, ever be the same as putting a headset on. So what is the sort of thought process like of when you do marketing, like, what, especially during a pandemic? Because I know that when the PlayStation 5 was up and coming, Sony's initial plan was, we're going to do just loads of booths around the world where they can have the haptic feedback controllers and the 3D audio. And then the pandemic happened and all that had to go out the window. And so it's like, without putting the hardware in people's hands, how do you actually bring them on side? I mean, how has that been for you?
Oh yeah, it's a very good question. And there's a couple of things that we do and we don't do in our particular case, because we are in a very interesting position. Our game is, at least visually, at first glance, very similar to Beat Saber, which is the biggest VR game ever made. So we have a couple of challenges on our own, like how to talk not only to people who haven't heard, like most people who heard about VR or who own VR, they most likely played and own Beat Saber. And the question is, like, for them, why should they bother? Why should they care about our game when they are so similar? And there's a long and short answer to it. So the long one is that we developed the game around the same time, and the games look similar, but this is like pure coincidental, because we launched almost around the same time, as Beat Saber on Steam Early Access, and the game is unique and feels unique. But yeah, it feels, when you play it feels different. So that's the thing. Like, so what? Yeah, it's yeah, it's tricky. So we try to use a language that speaks, for example, the tagline that our community manager came up with is that let the music move you. So we try to stuck to this aspects of like you become one with music, you experience, you feel, so back to emotions, and that how does it feel to play the game. And also we use a lot of mixed reality trailers. This one in particular is not mixed reality because the challenge was that with PlayStation VR you cannot do mixed reality really, because there's the current technology that is the most popular for doing mixed reality trailers. So trailers that mix live, like people playing the game with the background using green screen.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called Live. This is the software that everyone uses.
Is? So all these streamers that are playing, these games and they're in that space, they put into like Beat Saber or Synth Riders, they're using that technology.
Yes, this is the SDK that you have to implement in your game.
Interesting. And just to explain that to the viewers, because the last couple of days I've been actually building a live streaming thing in my living room so I can actually be on screen as well as the game. And I realised I do have a green screen, but if I'm going to be facing the map and I want the camera behind me, I'd have to have the green screen in front of me, and that's difficult because PlayStation's headset, it's all about lights. So you have a webcam on your TV and it's looking at the lights on your helmet, and that's how it's tracking. And also it's why the controllers, the Move controllers you have lights on it. But if you're facing the green screen, there are ways of probably doing it, but it makes it more difficult. Whereas a lot of the Oculus, I could be wrong here, but a lot of them have internal tracking. Do they? Yes,
they have like inside out. So you have cameras on the headset that track.
Yes. So do those headsets track the controllers? Are they looking at the controllers out, or
correct?
Do the controllers have? Okay.
Yeah. Most of the modern headsets.
Yeah.
And also, it's confirmed that PlayStation VR, the new PlayStation VR,
is going to have
next gen VR.
Yeah, because the PlayStation VR headset's been out maybe 6 years now, maybe 2015. It might be 2016. Yeah, because I think I got mine in 2017. And the only experience I had in VR beforehand was when my brother got the HTC Vive, which was amazing. And, PlayStation resolution wasn't quite as good. But the word that we always use in VR space when we talk to people about it is immersion. And, it's really interesting you talk about the language in your marketing about, let the music move you. It's how do you communicate, the feelings. And obviously PlayStation's now doing it with their haptic feedback and 3D audio. They talk about immersion there, even when they're not talking about VR games. And I think that's always been a big part of gaming the last 10 years. They want you to feel that you're a part of the game, but virtual reality really is, taking it to a whole other level. Like when you think of a first-person shooter, when you're doing a shooter game in VR, that is literally first person. You are in the game.
Correct.
This is what I love about the chat, by the way. They can look at it. It was released the 13th of October, 2016.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. Could be lying, but I trust them.
Yeah, so with shooters, especially, people ask, how do I aim? Which button to aim?
Yes.
Dude, you have to do this. This is how you aim in this game, right?
And you can do blind fire, so you can actually hide round a wall and shoot round the corner. You can do sort of lean things in main games, but...
Exactly. How do you lean in VR? And how do you duck? You have to physically do it.
I do think that is the challenge at the moment in VR, which is we're not fully there yet with full locomotion. So it's about how do you lay... It's like when you watch a movie, you want to know what the rules are of the world, because if you don't know what the rules are, it's not very interesting because you go, well, anything can go. That's not a surprise. And in VR, you want people to realise what they can do and what the limitations are. And that can be quite a difficult balancing act. So yeah, that's definitely another challenge of it. What do you do you think VR is on the verge of? Because when it came to 3D televisions or 3D movies, there are a lot of people going, it's a gimmick that's not going to last. And although it is still about, it's not as big as I think some people were hoping. I don't have that concern. I think VR is going to continue growing. What do you feel about that? I mean, obviously, you'd hope it keeps growing, but
Yeah, so we actually do see it grow, see it growing as even with the numbers of our game. So usually you have these life cycles of games, and you have a launch, and then the numbers. You have like a long tail, hopefully, but it's much slower period. Then you do some discounts, you see bumps, but usually it's like a slow. And with VR, we and many other developers see that the numbers are actually accelerating or not slowing down.
right.
That means a constant stream of new users, of people who buy the headsets. And we know that Quest is one of the biggest, and soon probably is going to be the biggest VR headset ever.
And that's developed by Facebook, correct?
Yes, initially it was the development started. It was a startup by a guy called Palmer Luckey, very interesting figure. And then he did a Kickstarter campaign, and then he sold the company. The team that the founders and owners of Oculus sold it to Facebook, because Mark Zuckerberg is a huge believer. Maybe not because of it, but also he's like openly, very like vocally, a true believer in VR. So this is how it gave this almost unlimited resources, and you can see that Oculus is hiring a couple thousand engineers and like the best, like a world-class quality, not only like marketing people, but like especially hardware people and also software people. So this is why Quest is a wonderful headset, because it does not require a PC. So the entry barrier of getting into VR went from $600 for a headset plus $1,000 at least for a PC to $300.
Right.
And that's it. Like, and you're good to go. You can play tons of games, and like one of the best games in VR. So we do see that the numbers are still strong, so that the interest is still there, and it's like probably accelerating. And comparing it to 3D TV, like the thing is that with 3D television, when you saw the ads for these TVs, you saw this.
It came right out.
Yeah, exactly. A jungle that's like
you. Yeah.
Exactly. So what 3D promised, VR delivers.
Yes.
This and more. And actually, it's an opposite situation, because it's easy to make an advertisement of a 3D TV, because it's easy to like oversell the stuff. But with VR, it's hard.
Yes.
Unless someone puts on the headset, it's almost impossible to explain how are you going to feel. Yeah. So this is an opposite situation.
It's so true. And I just think of all the times there have been so many VR games that I've been in, and doesn't matter how long I've been playing, how many years I've been playing virtual reality for, I will gasp, and I'll just be like, I'll just have that second of just going, I can't quite believe. And when you take it off again, you're just like, that was so amazing. And actually, I spoke a couple of weeks ago. It was actually on the PlayStation Store. It was 100% off discount. So a pretty good deal if you ask me. It was Racket Fury, the table tennis game. And it's amazing. You can play other people online at table tennis. And the reason I went on about it was it's a great example of how virtual reality expands your horizons, or your actual horizons, because there I was in my living room where I could never fit a table tennis table. There's no way one would fit in there. So not only did I have a table tennis table in VR, but I was playing someone around the world. And you're hitting it, you can put spin on the ball, how you drop it and stuff like that. And it's absolutely mind-blowing. And it's like, already, that's a great example of how... I mean, I'm really interested, actually, to go on a proper table tennis table again and see if it's made me worse of a player or better. I feel like it's made me better, but I might pick up a real one and go, actually, no, it was terrible. But a part of virtual reality is about living those fantasies. So PlayStation did Iron Man VR, where you literally have the helmet on and you can see, the armor coming up, and then when you want to fly forward, you put your hands behind you like a jetpack, and and it's just incredible. And the technology is still in its infancy. This is the thing, and it's why there's even more credit when even synth riders, which it's not the same as a simulator of being a Marvel superhero, but like being connected with the music is really, really powerful that you don't really understand until you're in there. Another game I'd actually relate to that in music is because it actually got released today, the free patch, Tetris Effect Connected. Have you played Tetris Effect?
Yeah, I haven't, but I like
Okay.
I've seen so many videos, and it's like super high on my list. And especially with the new update, I think it's a
Yes.
high time to give it a
Yes.
try.
So Tetris Effect is interesting because when you say it against people that haven't played VR, and you're like, "So what? Are the blocks coming around you?" It's like, no, 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 no. It is a flat Tetris game, but when you rotate the blocks, it's playing notes in the music, and it's like you're conducting the music, and then as you clear lines and you do more, the music progresses. And I remember quite a few years ago, I showed it to a friend who'd never experienced VR before, and bless her, she took the headset off. Actually, no, she said it before she'd even take the headset off. She says, "This game is so immersive, I don't feel as though I exist anymore." Like, I was so in there. And I feel like Tetris Effect is like, it's just so meditative. Obviously, Synth Rider is more actiony, and again, it makes me move in ways that I didn't think I would move to before, and I'm just having a blast with it. And like the harder levels, because I came from playing Beat Saber, I felt I was able to jump ahead a bit, and Beat Saber has definitely helped a lot. But as you said, they are different games, and I think one distinction I'd make between them is, well, Brian Paul actually said on his review, he said Beat Saber, I think he said, is visceral, but Synth Riders is wonderful. And, you know, Beat Saber, you're having to actively slice the blocks in half, so you're attacking the beats. Whereas in Synth Riders, the music notes are coming towards you, and you're just getting in front of it, and therefore you're actually, I feel like you're more in time with the music, and also you can do rhythms on Synth Riders that you couldn't do on Beat Saber, because Beat Saber, you can only wave your hands so quickly, whereas here you've got the tracks and stuff like that. And so I feel that you do feel way more as one with the music, which is just an absolute joy. And it's going to be a game that when I start having friends over again, it's going to be one of the first ones I put them into, because again, music games are a good starting point, because I think you always need to give people a game where the controls are easy. 2 hands, 2 orbs, this colour, that colour, I know it. Whereas there are games like, you know, I was showing earlier, Saints and Sinners, The Walking Dead, amazing game, but that turns you left, that turns you right, that moves you forward where your hand is pointing, you got to grab you, and it's just too much for people to handle. And I mean, how has the reception been for Synth Riders, like on PlayStation?
Oh, on PlayStation it's beyond our expectation. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah.
I'm just reading here by Sigo Guitarist. Music is a massive component of immersion. Games like these will always be relevant and do well for that reason. Well, it's true, because there's always going to be music being made. And there's like, is it 52 or 54 songs on the
54.
Yeah. Like so much music, and such. I mean, a lot of it is synthwave, but it's like all genres in today's society, they blend into so many others.
Yeah, and there's actually music alone is something that's so unique, and so it's like, I believe it's exclusive to human to be able to enjoy music.
It's a
I'm not sure
universal
about it.
language. Like, even if you hear do you know the artist Sigur Rós?
Yeah, of course.
So they're Icelandic, but their language in their music is not actually a language; it's made up. But you hear it, you still well up, you still feel emotional because you feel it,
Yes.
and like,
Yes.
it goes to
And
exactly
like,
what you're saying.
and people in Poland, like, there are many of people who do not speak English enough well to understand the songs, and still, like, the majority of music we listen to is English, but the emotional message is there even without words. So people can have really ecstatic experiences just listening to music with their eyes closed. And if you have a good combination of music and something on top of it, which is VR, whatever it's more, I wouldn't say any of it is more important, visuals or audio here. If it's like that, if it convert merges well into an experience. This is not sure if you had the chance to try the algorithm experience in Synth Riders.
Is that the Muse one?
The Muse one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So the experience is like, just to explain it a little bit. In Synth Riders, you have this, as you can see here on the screen, there's a stage, and you like ride through the stage, and you be in this stage or this environment playing any songs that's in the library. But there are specific songs, 3 of them right now in the game, that have their own unique visuals that are like perfectly synced with the music. And the first one of them is for the song Algorithm by Muse. And this is the song itself. It gives me and a lot of other people goosebumps. It's like an almost religious experience just listening to that song. But when you combine it with these visuals that our creative director created for this song, this was but this is the same thing. It's so hard to talk about it, to try to explain it. There's like no words.
Words will never be able to connect people enough with like how it actually feels. And it's kind of what I was trying to say. Is it called Paris Night Walk, one of the songs?
Yes, correct.
There's that. It's the sort of the really jazzy bit, and then the rudiments. It makes you do your arms like you roll them, and every hit you just feel the tapping on your hand, and you feel the beat, and it feels so good. By the way, anyone who's watching the live stream at the moment, so in about 10 minutes we're going to wrap this up. But I will then take a 5-minute break, and then I'm going to be on Twitch, and it only makes sense that the game I play is Synth Riders. So I will dive straight onto that, and we can show you the songs, and I'll show you the Muse experience for sure. They got Offspring as another one,
yes,
and correct. Caravan, was it Caravan?
Yes, Wonderland by Caravan Pass.
That's it.
Yes.
So many artists I hadn't heard of, and what was the is it, I'm going to mess it up, is it synth sway or swing synth, or it like the genre?
The genre?
Yeah.
Electro swing.
Oh, that was it. Electro swing.
Electro swing. Yes,
that was it. Yeah, that really good. So I totally messed it up, but we knew the one we were talking about. Jonathan said, just looked at the songs on PSVR. Really good mix of genres. Any metal DLC packs in the future? I mean, there's a few heavy ones. I mean, the song that I was playing a minute ago, I can't remember which metal song it was, but I absolutely love it. But a lot of it that's got electronic vibes to it, but I feel like as you expand your library, it kind of gives you room to go into more direct metal songs and stuff like that. Yeah,
correct. So the closest to metal, there's some like metal combined with EDM, but also there's the Adrenaline Pack, which has some punk rock songs. Punk rock is not metal, but it's like
Bad Religion, rock music. It's obviously Offspring, and
Offspring,
Pennywise,
Rancid, this kind of bands. So I really can't like disclose anything when it comes to like upcoming packs, but there's a lot of still coming. We do not. It's still like ongoing process for us to keep adding music.
I don't know if you're able to answer this question. Totally answer if you can't. But like when it comes to getting new packs, does the team, like the developers, do you go, these are the kind of genres we want to go to, or is it a bit of cast the net wide of like these? These are the specific genres we want to do, let's go after them? Or is it, these are the artists we'd like to work with, and if they do, we'll then make it work? Do you know what I mean? In terms of, does level design come first? Or, I mean, I know it must do to some degree, but there must be some artists that you're like, well, if they said yes, we definitely...
Yes, correct. So we try to like, it's both, or like all of it. So there are like people with different background and different roles in the company. You have Aben, who's the creative director. He's the original creator of the game. Initially, it was only him and one programmer working on it. Right now, it's a whole team. So he has his like taste and aspirations when it comes to adding more music. We have the mapping team, so people who actually map that synchronize and like come up with basically that choreography.
Quick question on that, actually. Sorry to derail, no pun intended. But when it comes to mapping, Is it that they just plot it, or is there actually where they do record them doing the movements?
Yeah, I know that some of the mappers they actually do. I know that at least one of them recently bought himself like some extra tracker, so he can track his body while performing some moves, and then try to translate it into the map. So
Sure.
it's this kind of process. So first you have to imagine how do you want people to move, and then the map tries to like deliberately deliver this and make people trick them into dancing and to doing all this extra like crazy stuff. So yeah, they like most of the mappers like younger generation, so they also have their opinion on what's like cool, what would be nice to be added to the game. We have also Arturo, who's the CEO, and he's the one like the most involved. He's responsible for like getting the artists, and not only artists. You have to work with artists and also with the labels who own rights for the production, like that produce songs.
Yes.
So this is a super tricky
So you have
process, and
composer
sometimes
rights, you have the
correct.
artist, you have it's becoming less of an issue now because of the internet, but like geography, like regional rights.
Yes.
Also, I noticed that when I've done Twitch streams, there's a couple of songs where it mutes the song. But the fact that,
Yeah.
but the fact it just does it and it doesn't do a takedown of the channel, I think is good. Like, it's a shame, and it does. I think it will allow the music in real time, or does it? Does it shut it off on the live stream when it goes? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
The tech is really interesting though, of like how it changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right.
This is yeah. So there are like different. We like all the time we're on the lookout at like whoever might be willing, because you have some of these artists you have to explain, or like labels you have to explain what VR is, or why the numbers are like a little bit different than, for
Yes.
example, for Guitar Hero or Rock Band. And this is so this is a super challenging process, and that like I remember when we first launched the game, we had many fantastic artists, but they were like much less popular. Some of them like grow in
Of course.
popularity since then, but right now seeing that we have Muse, The Offspring, Bad Religion, like Caravan Palace, this kind of popularity of the bands,
Yes.
this is, and I know what's coming soon.
It gives you
Like
clout, man. Oh yeah.
soonish. So it's not getting any less exciting.
That's
So
awesome, and it is really good to hear. And yeah, a lot of people I think that don't work in the industry just assume, well, of course you could just get artists. It's like, no, the barriers to entry and like the fact that there are so many stakeholders in music. It's not like the Offspring are there and you just got to get the Offspring to go, yeah, I want to do it, and it's fine. It's like it's their manager, it's their label, it's the depending on when the albums were done and who had done it with it. So you got to take all that into consideration. So yeah,
exactly.
the amount of music on the game is really good fun, and I'm already thinking about the ones that I want to play right off the get go. Someone got a couple of questions here. One's actually a bit of a general one. We'll end the stream in 5 minutes just because PlayStation Without Parole, their show's in an hour, and I like to go and watch that. So we'll start eating into Synth Riders dance time. It's helped me hit my daily targets on my Apple Watch. So it's been really good for my fitness. But Mojo said here a while ago, I fell away from video games just after Grand Theft Auto 5 because I found anime and manga. I wouldn't know where to start getting back into video games. What is your advice? And it doesn't necessarily have to be just about VR, but like, you're a gamer. What would your advice be to someone that's like, because there are so many games these days. Like, where do you even start? But like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So based on the question, like GTA 5 is like a serious gaming. It's not like a casual game. So I would jump straight into VR, and especially Half-Life Alyx,
Oh man.
because this is
Yeah, I'd love to play it. It's not on PlayStation yet. I'm hoping it'll be on PlayStation VR 2. Like, but
I'm also hoping for
Yeah.
this. I'm not sure how like what are
Like,
the odds, but
yes.
so this is one of the greatest video games, not VR games. So this is the
Really?
amazing thing
Yeah.
about it. So you have like great VR, you have great games, and then I'm sorry, can you hear this noise?
That's all right.
There's a
A
dog
little bit
barking.
of barking, but
I'm
it's fine.
sorry.
No,
Yeah,
don't be. It's
so
cool.
so it's a rare example of a game that is it's one of the best Half-Life games, one of the best video games ever, and it's exclusive to VR. So and it's going like you jump when you start it, you will fall in love with video games again.
That's such a good suggestion. So I know very little about it just because I didn't want spoilers, and I know very little about it, and like the longer I leave it. Also, Mojo, I would say is sometimes obviously it's been very difficult with the pandemic, but there's a lot of like gaming bars and that like do have VR booths and stuff like that. So you just want to find is it Oculus or is it only on the Index? Is it?
It's not on Oculus Quest, but it's for all the headsets Index.
Right.
So everything that runs Steam VR.
Okay.
So basically, all the VR like PC-based headsets they run it.
And if you found a bar that had that game, it's going to have like Synth Riders and all the other like games that you hear about that you should try as well. Because I do say to a lot of people, like the amount of friends I've had over and they love VR, they weren't going to go out and buy a PlayStation 4 and then a PSVR kit. But I know so many people that went out and bought a PS5 during the pandemic. I think Sony reported at the end of last year, like in the first 2 months of the sales, they said something like a quarter of PlayStation 5 owners had never bought a PlayStation before. They were like new to the ecosystem, which is amazing. And I think it is just because people are like, it's a pandemic, now's the time to do it. And so I feel like if people have got the PlayStation 5 and they've already got in the back of their mind, I've tried VR and it's really good, it's less of a jump to do now. So I feel very, very confident about that. Just one more question. Marty says, so he made a joke earlier. I'll put the joke up first because when you were talking about the music, he said, break the NDA, break the NDA. But he did say kidding. But he then said, actually, now I've mentioned it, it's always been curious. Are you allowed to offer a sarcastic retort whenever anyone tries to weasel you into breaking the NDA? So he's just basically saying, have you ever told someone off for pushing you in an interview?
No,
you just have to smile, don't you? And just be really polite and like, I can't say anything.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Man, I think that's actually one of the toughest parts in the jobs that you do is just like, especially when there's so much excitement. I mean, I saw it in your face saying like, you got all this stuff coming up that you'd love to talk about, but you just can't. And I think about it like, my band, we recorded new music February last year, and it's for a new album. We've not mentioned what the album is yet. We'd love to talk about it. But when you create something, you just want to put it out there straight away. But it's like, on the one hand, you're like, no, we're just going to wait on it. And the other thing you have to appreciate is, as an audience, your listeners, gaming community, for them, it's not old. It's new. Like, even if you bring out a DLC that you've been working on for 2 years, let's say. Well, it happened with PSVR. Like, this game has been out for years. As soon as it came on PSVR, to you, it might be like, oh, it's 2 years after everything else. To us, it's a fresh game. Like, it's new, and that's how it is to us. And I think sometimes as creators, we have to give ourselves credit there and not be too hard on ourselves and realise that when it's released, it's fresh, and that's all right.
Correct. And this is great for us. This is like super refreshing after like having this another release on a new platform. Having people for who it's a new fresh game. This is great feeling. So yeah, exactly as you say.
That's awesome. Just one last comment here. He was just saying, I've seen a video of Half-Life Alyx and it looks incredible. Half-Life was one of the original games I completed and loved when it came out. Alyx does the whole series justice. I'll never forget when Half-Life 2, they did that tech demo and it blew, like you see the facial expressions. I mean, you watch it now, it looks so dated, but I remember at the time seeing it and thinking that's photorealistic. And they like shot the barrels and it had all the physics, had the gravity gun. But the other reason I was also unsure about PSVR 2 for Alyx is I know that Steam, I don't know if it's they just don't work with PlayStation, but like when I was living at home with my parents, my dad had a PC and so I had Steam and I used to love Left 4 Dead. Love that game. And then I bought Left 4 Dead 2 as I moved out and then I got a Mac computer. Obviously it couldn't play it, so I never got to play Left 4 Dead 2. But coming out in a couple of months is Back 4 Blood, which is the spiritual successor. It's made by the Left 4 Dead team, and it's coming out on PlayStation. So for me, it's got something in my heart for that. My friend Johnny's just said I'm going to pick up Synth Riders for sure, so that's good. And actually, right at the start, was it Austin? I loved it. He said, "Oh, so this is kind of like Beat Saber, but cooler." That'd be awesome.
No, it's just different.
And Mojo says thanks for the info. Just seeing that's gone. No, that's it. So, pal, man, honestly, at last minute notice, thanks for offering to jump on this. This has been like,
thank you.
You know, I could just keep spouting on my own about VR, but just sometimes having a conversation, you cover things you don't normally think about. And I just want to say once again, congratulations on the launch with Synth Riders. I'm having an absolute blast with it, and as we've sort of spoken on the Discord and that, so many suggestions of what the game could do. Not because we don't think it's good enough yet, we love it, but it's like there's so much you could do with this game, and I can only imagine what the conversations are behind the scenes with all the developers, because you could take it in so many different directions.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation.
No worries, man. And as I said, later in the year or something, I have to get you on my podcast show for an even longer conversation. So yeah, that'd be really, really great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. And have fun.
Awesome. And yeah. I'm going to be on Twitch next. So I'll put the link in a minute before I close this thing. But for now, I'll bid you farewell, pal. So thanks for tuning in, dude.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. So, everyone, hopefully you enjoyed that conversation. It was really great having Pal involved. And it's the first time that on my weekly live show I've had a guest coming in. So this was actually quite a good tech demo. How did you think the conversation went? Was the sound quality good? Did it flow well? I'm really impressed with this broadcast system. I love it so much. And yeah, as I always say every week, these are my social media links, but this one here, my Instagram, this is where I am most of the time. So follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. And yeah, I am now going to go and get ready. I'm going to get into my gym stuff, and I'm going to go downstairs, and I'm going to get ready for playing some Synth Riders. Are you going to come join me? Because I'll let you. There is Power in the chat. Honestly, man, thanks so much for being here. Kristen said, great convo. Siago guitarist, great stream as always. Have a great week. Thanks everyone for watching. This is awesome. Honestly, really, really, really good. So, twitch.tv/Myles Dyer. And it will take me, because I need to take, not the camera, but the actual video link out. And then I need to use my in-ear headphones downstairs so I can hear you in the chat. So what I'd say is, it's 8 minutes past the hour now. At 15 minutes past, if you go to twitch.tv/Myles Dyer, you'll be able to be in the chat. And when you type in the chat, a little robot will read your comments in my ear, and I'll be able to hear you, and I'll happily take any song requests. So we'll go through the songs together, and if they're ones that you want me to play, we'll just do it, and you can laugh at me flailing around like an idiot as I try and hit my how many more calories have I got to burn? I've got to burn 200 calories. I play on master mode at the moment, which is really, really tough and really, really good fun. So yeah, I hope to see you there, because I do want to get back into Twitch, but I've never been a Twitch streamer, so it's like small beginnings, kind of like the reboot of this YouTube channel, but I've just been sticking at it, and I realised that I just do it week on week, just have great conversations like this, and I appreciate you all. So from the bottom of my heart, as always, love, respect, empathy. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and I really, really hope to see you in 6 minutes. Twitch.tv/Myles Dyer. Adios till next time. See you next week, or at Twitch.